Howdy y'all. Thank you for joining me today for this playthrough. It's going to be a solo playthrough of this Marvel Champions, the Hero Pack Magneto. And what this is I like to, whenever a new Hero Pack comes out, I like to just sleeve it up as is. I've already shuffled this quite a bit. We're going to give it a few more shuffles as I talk about this, but what I like to do is take the Hero Pack unchanged exactly how it is and straight out of the box and sleeve it up and just play it up against usually one of the villains of the current scenario or campaign stuff that's going on, which in this case is the Age of Apocalypse. And with that being said, that's who we're going to go up against. We're going to go against the 4 Horsemen, see how Magneto does against them. And inside this deck is going to be, of course, the 4 Horsemen. I already got my obligation in there for Magneto mixed in. And normally, this would be, or what they recommend, is with the 4 Horsemen, you do the Dystopian Nightmare and the Hounds. I have Dystopian Nightmare in here, but instead of Hounds, since it came inside the Hero Pack, I wouldn't mix the Hellfire in there. So we're going to have the Hellfire that we're going to have to deal with. And I believe I did all the setup here already for this. I randomized these guys, which definitely have a different layout. I didn't even look to see how it came out, because this is a leadership deck. I know Death's going to be one of our problems, so we don't have to deal with him for a bit because he's down here at the end, and you'll see if you've never done against 4 Horsemen, I'll kind of go through how it works. And War, I think, is going to be the other one, so I was curious where those ended up, and War ended up here. And it's only because looking at Magneto, he has a lot of upgrades, so I think this is going to be a problem. And then I would say the next one would be Pestilence, just because Pestilence is going to be making my text box blank. And the only reason I say that's a problem is because of Famine. Because if Famine is milling me, which is what it's going to do, well, if my text box isn't blank, then I have a lot of ways of getting some of my cards back with Magneto. But if my text box, or not a lot of ways, but I have my text box, which gets some back. But Pestilence will make it to where I can't get that back. So, but I think these are going to be the biggest problems because it's a leadership deck, so Death should be kind of a problem because it'll be doing damage to my allies, which I don't want that to be happening. And then War because of my upgrades. I do need to get a random side scheme from the 4 Horsemen encounter set, so let me give this, I already shuffled it a bit, but let's give it a few more shuffles. On camera. And then we're going to mill or flip over cards till we get a 4 Horsemen side scheme from the 4 Horsemen encounter set. So we'll call it there. And alright. So right off the bat, Ravages of War, which I just said War is going to be one of our problems. So now we got to deal with the Ravages of War also. And if you're new to this, sorry if you are old to this and you're watching this, but I like to kind of do like a little mini teach at the beginning, just for the first round, so that if someone is new to this and Magneto just called out to them as far as like wanting to get into the game, they can at least somewhat follow along with what's going on here. And just because this might be a little bit off camera because of the way it cuts, Ravages of War is the side scheme we ended up with. Whoever defeats this scheme must discard an upgrade or a support they control. And we are going to have to get rid of that. So we're probably going to have to get rid of one of our upgrades or supports because we want to get rid of this because that is an extra encounter card. Boo. This will be the first time that the 4 Horsemen kind of beat me up. We will find out. It says there we get 6 threat added to this. So 6 threat added to it. There they are. And actually, until we get to something weird, I'm going to use these little thingies just so I'm not covering up the card. But there's the 6th threat for this one. And then the main one starts with 0, but we'll be getting 1 every turn for acceleration. So we'll just get that one ready to be accepting those. All right, shuffle this some more, and we'll come back. Did I do all this? Yeah. So basically the way this is going to work, we'll use this for my little marker. It starts on this, saying who the active villain is. So the way this works is we have to knock out all 4 of these villains in order to win. Normally it's one villain and they have 2 stages and we've got to knock them out through the 2 stages. But in this case, we have to knock out all 4. But even if we take one of these to 0, they technically are not knocked out till they are all knocked out. Now we want to get them to 0 because if either one of these, well, I should say really the active one, if the active villain at the time, which in this case is Famine, attacks and has at least 1 hit point, then they do something different when they attack. In this case, Famine's going to mill 10 cards off the top of my deck or make me discard 10 cards off the top of my deck. War is going to make you get rid of an upgrade or support, and Pestilence will make my text blocks for my hero, my identity blank, and then Death does 1 damage to all characters I control. And that's kind of what this is saying here is the forced response. And then the thing about them all having to be knocked out is the bottom thing on all of these. So that's kind of how it's going to go. So we'll do some shuffles here, and I'll go ahead and cut that off camera. Well, we'll just give it a few more shuffles here, and then I'll just go ahead and talk about some of the other stuff. But here we go. So yeah, if you're new, what we're going to be doing here is, as I talked about, we got to take care of the 4 horsemen. So we have to knock out all 4 of the 4 horsemen before they either knock me out, knock out all the heroes, or I guess all the characters, all the players, which in this case, since we're solo, 10 hit points, so they just got to knock me out, or they have to pull off their main scheme, which it says here, if this stage is completed, the players lose the game, which means they got to get 12 of this threat that's on this scheme onto this scheme. If they get 12 on there per player, so 12, they win. So we're going to see if we can knock them out before they can pull off their scheme or knock me out. And like I said, I already gave this a bunch of shuffles, so we'll just give it a few more here, and then we'll get right into it. And it should be good enough. All right. So we look at the bottom of our character. Like I said, it said the guy got 10 hit points, and then it says I get 6 cards for my opening hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll go ahead, and this is what we start with on our opening hand. Let's say, am I not getting it? Yep, not a single ally for a leadership deck. All right. We'll take a look at that. After you draw your opening hand, before you start the game, you do get what's called a mulligan. You could basically discard any number of cards you want to from hand in order to draw back up to your max hand size. So since I didn't get any allies for a leadership deck, I'm sure I'm going to go ahead. I normally don't take the mulligans when I don't know how a deck works, but for a leadership deck, I mean, a lot of these have to do with allies, so I kind of need the allies. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. I guess to make sure we get one, I'm going to discard these 4 cards, even though I kind of wanted to keep 2 of those. Actually, I kind of wanted to keep them all, but... And now we drop to our hand size of 6, remember, so we already kept 2, so 3, 4, 5, 6. I was about to say, am I not going to get an ally? All right. After we take our mulligan, we begin the game. So the game begins. A round consists of a hero phase and a villain phase. And we start in the hero phase, and whoever is the first player will take their turn doing stuff until they do not want to anymore, and then it would go on to the next player, and then once all the players have gone, that would be the end of the hero phase. So one of the things you can do on your turn is once per turn, for free, you can choose to switch forms. Meaning I could switch from alter ego to hero form, or vice versa from hero to alter ego form. And you can do this once free. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and switch to my hero form, which, as you can see, now I'm into my hero form, which has my abilities along with a new bottom card ability here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And really, this feels weird to do because I do want to bring on some allies, like I said, but I'm going to do something a little different this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called a basic ability. And what I'm going to do is, if you look at the side here, there's these 3 abilities here. And what I can do is, if I want, I can exhaust Magneto to thwart for this number, a number of threat off of a scheme, which would mean if I exhausted him in this case and thwarted for 2, I would come over to the schemes and I can remove 2 threat from either one of these schemes, which is the only one that has any. Or I could exhaust Magneto to attack for 2, which would mean attacking an enemy for 2. In this case, any one of the 4 horsemen I could attack for 2. Or in the case if I have an incoming attack coming in, before damage is decided, I could choose to exhaust Magneto to reduce the damage that's coming in by this number. And then on the other side, I know I can't do it right now, just to show you, is the recovery. If I was on this side, I could exhaust Magneto, or Eric in this case, to recover 3 hit points up to my max. I was at max, and I'm not in alter ego form, so I cannot do that anyways. With that being said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Magneto to thwart a scheme for 2 threat. So I come over here, and I remove 2 threat from a scheme. Next, I want to play a card from my hand. If you look at the cards in your hand, other than resource cards, which will make more sense here in a second, is I would just pay a number of resources equal to whatever the number at the top left of these cards are. So, and the way I would pay for that card is there are resources at the bottom of these cards, and by discarding the card, that has it to where I pay that resource for that cost. And it doesn't matter which resource it is unless it says it on the card for some reason. So in this case, I want to bring out Magneto's cape here. It's a 2-cost upgrade. And what it does, so I got to pay 2 here. So I'm going to use this resource card. Now notice it's not a card that is a card I can play, but it does have more than one of the resources down at the bottom like the other cards. And what it is I can use this to pay, that pays 2 of the resources. Hence, I needed 2. Here's 2 resources. So I discard it and boom, card is played. This is an upgrade, so it means it's something that attaches to one of my characters, in this case to Magneto. And what it does is it gives Magneto the aerial trait, so he's flying. And that really doesn't matter unless something mentions, hey, if they're aerial or something. Or so. But as a response, after I resolve my magnetic pull ability, which we're about to get into, that's the reason I'm playing this, and we'll talk about what that is here in a second, I can exhaust Magneto's cape to ready Magneto. Seems good. So, with that in play, now we're going to do something else that you can do is anytime you have actions out here, you can just do them. And even though he's exhausted, it says here, as an action, I could do the magnetic pull ability, which is discard cards from the top of my deck until a magnetic card is discarded, and then add that card to my hand. I can only do this once per round. So, and like I said, a round is all the way until the end of the villain phase. But let's go ahead and do that. So I discard cards from the top of my deck until I hit a magnetic card. So And we're looking right here because it's going to be a trait. Yep, there we hit one right there. So these get discarded and this goes to my hand. And then remember, I had a response here that as a response, after I resolve my magnetic pull ability, I just resolved my magnetic pull ability, I can exhaust Magneto's cape to ready Magneto. So I exhaust that to ready Magneto. That being said, now I'm going to go ahead and do what I did already once before, and we're going to thwart a scheme for 2. In this case, the Ravages of War again. And then we're going to play another card. I want to play Electromagnetic Blast here. It costs 2. And it is an event, so I'm going to go ahead and pay 2. So I'm going to pay these 2. And that lets me play this card. It is an event, which means it's a one-time play. And what it lets me do is, as a hero action, so it's an action I had to do. Action, just like we did here, but I have to be in hero form, which I am in hero form. So I remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, you may discard an attachment with the text hero action or hero response. There are no attachments in play at the moment, so we're just going to remove 3 threat from a scheme, which is this one. And even though it's the last one, there's no attachments out there, but it would have been cool if they do, because there's some nasty attachments that get put on these guys, so that would have been a good one to remove off of them. But in this case, we just at least got rid of the Ravages of War. Oh, well, I didn't really think that through, did I? Well, guess I should have. It's going to go away anyways, but I guess we got our use out of it because remember, when the Ravages of War is defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards an upgrade or support they control. So, I only have 1 upgrade. I have to get rid of it. I'm going to go to the end of my turn, and in this case, I would be done, and the next person would go, but there's no other players. So now that all the players have gone, we go to the end of the hero phase, which is each player then decides if they want to discard any cards from hand. I want to keep both of these. They're allies, and I'm leadership, so I kind of want to keep them. Even though I don't know why. Well, yeah, we'll just keep them. And then we draw back up to whatever our hand size is once you've discarded that, what you want to discard. In this case, remember, it started with 6, but now it is 5. So I have 2, so I draw 3. 1, 2, 3. And then once you've drawn up to your hand size, you ready all your cards in your player area. And that's the end of the hero phase. And we move on to the villain phase. The first step of the villain phase is, we look here and we accelerate the scheme by the number that it shows here. In this case, it says that we accelerate the scheme by +1 per number of player. So it gets 1, and now they're 1 to their 12 to winning the game. Next, the villain is going to activate, and the way the villain activates is, they check and see what form. So the villain's going to activate against each player. And it checks to see which form they are in. If I'm in alter ego form, then they are going to scheme. And they're going to add more threat to this scheme. If I'm in hero form, they will attack and do damage to me. And that's when I'd have to choose to defend. In this case, remember, I am in hero form, so they are going to, so the villain is going to activate and attack me. So Famine is going to attack, and they are doing 1 damage right now. But villains get what's called a boost card, which means they're going to get a card dealt from the top of the deck and added to their boost stack, and then that's going to add some extra damage or extra threat to the scheme. So now's when I would have to choose whether I want to defend or not. But considering I'm at full hit points, I'm going to choose to not defend. So as of right now, Famine's doing 1. Then we deal the boost card, and there could be other boost cards in their stack. There isn't, so there's just the boost card. And we flip over the boost card. Now we don't care about the rest of the card. We're only looking at this bottom part here. And for each of these symbols you see there, that's how much extra they're doing. So in this case, there's 2 symbols there. So 1 plus the 2 symbols means Famine is doing 3 damage. And there's another symbol that could come up, and when that comes up, I'll explain it then. But, so we got to take 3 damage. We did not defend, so we take 3 damage. And if there was any minions on me, then they would go ahead and attack also. Do it, or attack or scheme depending upon the same incidents. After all the villains have activated, but we got some things here. Because after Famine attacks you, if she has at least 1 hit point, discard the top 10 cards of your deck. So she has at least 1 hit point. She's got 9. So I have to discard 10 cards off the top of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there's another forced response here that after a villain activates, move the active counter to the next villain. So now War is the active villain. Now that the villain and all the minions have activated, we go to what's called the encounter step. The encounter step is every player is dealt 1 encounter card. And then after they're dealt encounter cards, we have to deal with the encounter card. So hence, if that Ravages of War would have stayed out, we would have had to deal ourselves, at least the first player, an additional encounter card. So we would have to deal with 2 encounters. There could be other encounter cards, but this is a step when you would deal with them if they're dealt to you at any other time. You deal with them now during the encounter step. So now that we've been dealt our encounter card, we do care what the rest of this card is. So we're going to look at it, and it is the Horseman of Death. Of course it would be. So, it's a treachery. Now we do care about the rest of the card. And it says, when revealed, heal 2 damage from death and give him a tough status card. He activates against you. It says to heal death of 2, but he's at his max, so he cannot be healed anymore. And give him a tough status card. What a tough status card is this card here. And it's just a card that says the next time this character would take any amount of damage, this gets discarded instead. So I'm just going to put that on top of his hit points there to remind me. That way if he goes to take damage, he doesn't. But now he's got to activate against me. So death is now going to, just like when Famine activated against me, now death is going to activate against me, attacking me for 2 because I am in hero form. So in this case, I am going to go ahead and defend for 2. And now we got to see, because remember I said every time a villain activates against you, they get dealt a boost card. So he's doing 2 plus 3. This might be a fast one. So he's doing 5 damage to me. I defended, so I reduced the damage by 2. So 5 minus 2, I take 3 damage. And then, remember, we don't do this forced response that after a villain activates, move the active counter to the next villain. In my opinion, that's only if it was after this villain is activated, not after any villain activates. So until War activates against someone, this is not going to move. But we do have a forced response here that after death attacks you, if he has at least 1 hit point, which is still at full, deal 1 damage to each character you control. Like I said, this may be a fast one. And then I'm just going to show this. This would be discarded. But this is that other symbol I was talking about. So if this would have came up during a boost, then we would care about where we would go look here, and that's called a boost ability, and we would do whatever it says there. But it wasn't, so that's done. The last part, once all the encounters are done by all the players, next thing that happens is the first player marker is passed to the next player, and then we start all over again in the round. In this case, right back to the beginning of our turn. But remember now, I don't unexhaust or ready until the end of my turn. So that means because I defended, I can't do anything as far as the basic abilities or anything that may make me exhaust, that says I have to exhaust Magneto to do it. But with that, we just go back and forth until either they knock us out, which is looking likely, or they pull off their scheme. And we win if we can manage to knock them all out, which we haven't even touched them yet. Let's see what we can do this time. I'm going to go ahead and activate, even though it's getting dangerous, my deck's getting pretty low. I'm going to go ahead and activate my magnetic pull ability. I think. Yeah, because I'm hoping something comes up with that magnetic card. I'm looking for an energy on the bottom of it. So, yep, we're doing magnetic pull till we hit a magnetic card. We hit a magnetic card, and I at least hit a wow, which is, I am looking for that. So this goes to my hand. And then I want to bring out this ally, so it costs me 2 to do that. So I'm going to pay these 2. Unfortunately, this is going to be a turn where I don't do much. Because originally I was wanting to bring this out. And I was hoping to hit an energy resource, which I did hit a wild, so I could use the energy resource and do 1 damage to each of them. But I've taken so much damage, I think I need to bring this into play. So unfortunately, this is going to be a very short turn for me, because we're going to go ahead and use that once per turn ability to switch to my alter ego form, which we didn't do this before because it's a response, the survivor, that says after you change to this form, shuffle the top 3 cards of your discard pile into your deck. So 1, 2, 3, the top 3 cards of my discard pile into my deck. Actually, I'm gonna shuffle this, but let me go ahead and play something else out. That way I'm not taking more time to do a lot more shuffles, because now that I've done that, and I'm gonna shuffle that, I'm gonna bring this out, Asteroid M. It costs me 2. So there's my 2. And that lets me put this into play. It's a support. And I'm going to go ahead and use it because I'm in alter ego form. Because if you'll notice on the bottom, it says it's an alter ego action. I exhaust Asteroid M to shuffle the topmost magnetic card in my discard pile into my deck and heal 1 damage from my identity. So that's the reason I stopped the shuffle, because I'm about to have to shuffle it again anyways. So let's go ahead and do that, which I paid for it with 2 magnetic cards. I made sure to put this one on top so I could maybe shuffle my helmet back in and get it. Curious what it would have been if I wouldn't have played those. Oh, actually, it'd have been a better card, but I had to play those first unless I wanted to discard some allies, which I'm not playing anyways. Yeah, actually, looking at that, sorry, I know, taking things back. I paid these 2. Instead, I'm going to pay these 2, because these would be on top of my deck. So then, now it's saying I get to the topmost. And it's because when I looked through, this was the top most. So that means I get to shuffle that back in. So I'm going to shuffle that back in instead. That's the only reason I'm taking that back, as much as I'd rather have got rid of those. But I can always just discard them if I want to. But anyways, so yeah, it shuffles these in. That's the reason I held up on the shuffle. And it heals me for 1. So let's do that. And then we get to shuffle. Okay, that should be more than enough shuffles. So... and with that, we're going to end my turn. I'm going to keep these 2 in hand, so I'll discard this. And then we draw up to our hand size of 6. So we kept 2, so we draw 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we've drawn up. We unexhaust all of our cards. Back to the villain phase. Accelerate the scheme for 1. Villain's going to activate. I am in alter ego form, so they are going to scheme. So War is going to scheme for 1. Plus this. Oh, lovely. I become stunned. So, yep, I become stunned. So that was that boost I was talking about. So it doesn't add anything. So we don't forget to add the 1 because it schemed for 1 plus 0. But it does do that where I am stunned. And what stunned is it says the next time that character would attack, instead just discard this. So I am stunned. We go to the encounter step. And, oh lovely. We're just getting it all sides, aren't we? Here we go. Target for extermination. It is a side scheme, just like the one we had out earlier, but it gets 3 is what it starts with. And when it's defeated, the player who defeated this scheme confuses their identity, which I'll go ahead and talk about confusion since we've already talked about the other 2. Confusion is just the next time that character would thwart or scheme, discard this status card instead. So and then what this symbol is, this is called the crisis symbol. It means we cannot remove any threat from this main scheme until we remove from here. And I almost forgot. So the force response for the attack here on War does not happen because that's only when it attacked. It did not. War schemed. But this one does. So now actually Pestilence is the active. Alright, with that, back to beginning my turn. And I might make some stupid, not really mistakes, but some stupid calls here, but we're gonna do some stuff. Let's see. Well, first off, we're in alter ego form, so let's go ahead and do this one again, even though this is useless unless we get a minion out. But, actually, that might not be something. Well, either way, it's just gonna shuffle it back in. Yeah, exhaust Asteroid M, shuffle the topmost magnetic card into my deck, and heal for 1. And like I said, I'll speed time this because I always like to shuffle about 50 times. Alright. I just realized what I had planned wasn't going to work. And I'm just going to show it. That way, if somebody's watching and they think I'm interpreting it wrong, they can let me know. But I'm going to go with the interpretation. So I was originally thinking I was going to get Pestilence down to 7. And then I was going to play this, which deals 7 damage to an enemy. And if this attack defeats that enemy, gain a tough status card. Which does take them to 0. But remember, not everybody... it says Pestilence cannot be defeated while another villain has at least 1 hit point. So that's not going to work quite the way I was going to. So I'm going to cut out me rethinking my whole turn here. Actually, I'm not going to rethink it too much and see what we come up with because still dealing 7 damage to Pestilence still puts her at 0 and makes it to where I don't have to have a blank trait box. So we're probably going to still do this. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and flip to my hero form. We're going to do my magnetic pull. Right off the bat. Alright, let's just do what I had planned. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and use Magneto to attack. But remember, I'm stunned, so instead of attacking, it just gets rid of the stun. Next, I want to bring out Kid Omega for 2. So I'll pay the 2 here. And Kid Omega says, as a response, after Kid Omega enters play, choose to spend a reflex resource to deal 1 damage to each enemy, or spend a mental resource. That's not reflex, sorry. Play a lot of legendary. Energy resource. Spend a mental resource to remove 1 threat from each scheme. So I'm going to spend the energy. So that's going to be, as Kid Omega comes into play, spend 1 energy resource to deal 1 damage to each enemy. So, pop, 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 and gets rid of the toughness. And then an ally is just like an upgrade kind of. It comes into play. You can have up to 3 allies in play at a time. And they have the number of hit points it shows here. So in this case, Kid Omega has 2 hit points. And it seems like a little bit of a waste, but like I said, I want to kind of get Pestilence down so we at least get one of these Horsemen down. So I'm going to have Kid Omega do a basic action just like we do. Notice the stats here. He has a 2 thwart or a 2 attack. So I'm going to have Kid Omega go ahead and attack Pestilence for 2. But notice on the allies, they have these little stars underneath them. And that means those are called consequence stars. So if an ally does one of these abilities, they have to take consequence damage for doing that ability. So in this case, Kid Omega now takes 1 damage in consequence damage. And now I'm going to play Metal Shards for 3. So Metal Shards for 3. Sorry, just looking to see which order I want to put these in. Yep, I'll put them in that order. Which I don't think is going to matter, but we'll see. And then we do deal 7 damage. It's an event. Deal 7 damage to an enemy. And like I said, it says defeat, but even though I'm taking her to 0, I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm going to go by the wording. It says they're not defeated. So defeat. So, but either way, 7 damage to Pestilence, just so I can keep my text box not blank. We have one of the 4 Horsemen down. 25% of the way down. Let's do this. Well, maybe a little bit in the 28-ish. All right. With that, I have no more cards in hand, no more actions I want to do or can do. So, we draw up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we ready all of our cards. All right, accelerate the main scheme for 1. I am in hero form, so Pestilence is going to attack. And since I'm kind of low on hit points, I'm going to go ahead and defend. So Pestilence is attacking for 1 plus, oh my goodness, just hitting really hard. 1 plus 3 is 4. Luckily I defended for 2, so I was going to have Kid Omega defend, but I figured I'd try to get 2 more damage out of him, but guess not. Should have just had him take it. Now, this force response doesn't happen because it's only if Pestilence has 1 or more hit points. They don't. But this force response does, making Death the active villain. Next, we have to do the encounter step. And just making sure I didn't forget to do something this time. I did not. All right, so, oh, lovely. We get Hellfire's Pawn here. It is a minion. It has guard, which means I can't attack any more villains until this is taken out. It has patrol, which means I cannot go for the thwart the main scheme until he's taken out. And it has surge, so that means I have to do another encounter card. Lovely. So I normally put these up in the villain area to keep all the villain stuff together, but I'll put it in play over here with me because you can see it's getting a little cluttered in the villain screen. And to help remind me that I got to do stuff against this before I can do against anything else. So like I said, Hellfire Pawn has surge, so we have to deal ourselves another encounter card, and we get War Weary. Oh, this is annoying. It's going to stun me. Oh, actually, this is going to be good. this works out because War Weary, when revealed, you are stunned. If you were already stunned, take 2 damage instead. So I become stunned. And with that, we go to the end of my turn, or end of the villain phase, because we've done all of our encounters. And it goes back to the beginning of my turn. And yeah, that worked out because we're going to bring out White Queen. Costs 3 to play White Queen. There's 3. And these are really good cards because they got the double strength. Oh, actually, I should have done... it don't matter. I should have done my magnetic ability. I got carried away with wanting to get rid of that stun, but I guess I should have done my magnetic ability first. I guess it don't matter. Oh, I kind of wanted those 3. Oh, these are going to go on top anyways. It don't matter. Sorry, I know I'm jibber-jabbering. I was hoping to go to Alter Ego form and get these 3 back. So I wasn't going to do my magnetic ability, but I can only bring the White Queen out if I have the X-Force or X-Men ability, so I have to do it now, so those are going to be the top cards anyway, so doesn't matter. So, yep. Play only if your identity has the X-Force or X-Men trait. As a response, after White Queen enters play, discard a status card from a character. So, get rid of a status card, which that means tough, confused, or stun. So get rid of the stun off of me, which doesn't matter because I can't do anything anyways. Just makes it where I don't waste an attack later or something. Seems like a waste because I'd rather be thwarting with her. But let's go ahead and attack the Hellfire Pawn for 1. And she has to take 1 consequence damage. And we'll have Kid Omega go ahead and attack the Hellfire Pawn for 2, which is enough to knock out the Hellfire Pawn. But now he has to take his consequence damage and Kid Omega is KO'd. Let's go ahead and... if I don't do my magnetic ability right now, these are the cards I get in hand, which getting Kid Omega in hand again could be pretty good. Well, it just shuffles in. Don't go back in hand. That's right. It just shuffles in. But getting him out early again, doing 1 damage to them all again, seems pretty good. Look at my discard. Just try to remember from the unboxing what magnetic cards are in there. So I think there's another one of these wrapped in metal, another one of these. But I don't remember what the other 2 are. Oh, there's the one that lets you throw a minion. We don't have a minion anymore, so... But I kind of got a wasted turn because the cards in my hand... I mean, I could bring this out, and that would get me Kid Omega back anyways. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Because if I hit... yeah, because we don't have a minion out, so if I hit that one, it's about minions, and it just turns into resources, so... We're going to go ahead and overspin to bring this out. Won't stay down. So, yeah. So, I guess I can talk about what I brought out. I brought out this support that says, play only if your identity has the X-Force or X-Men trait. So, I have to bring it out now. And then, max 1 per player. As an alter ego action, I could discard this card to return an X-Force or X-Men ally from your discard. Oh, it's any of them. I was thinking it was just the topmost. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that. We won't do the magnetic ability. So... once that's out, we're going to switch to... oh, well, I already did it. Too late. Because we're going to switch as the response after I change. It shuffles the top 3 cards, so I'm not going to be able to get Kid Omega anyways. I thought on that way too hard. And shuffles them back in. And I know I'm about to shuffle. Let's go ahead and do the same thing I was going to do before, but this time I'm not playing a card. Let's just go ahead and exhaust Asteroid M. To shuffle the topmost magnetic card. Oh, metal shards? Yeah, I'm cool with that one. Back into my deck. And heal for 1. Just so we can save time on the shuffle since I like to do a lot of shuffles. So, alright, that should be more than enough shuffles. There we go. And I guess, let's look at what's in my discard. See if there's an ally I want to bring up. I know Cyclops and Jean Grey are in there, Phoenix. I'm going to hold off and see what I draw. I think there's also some allies still left on my deck. Yeah, let me see what I draw, and I'll make that decision on my next turn. Because I'll still be in alter ego form. So, with that, I have no more actions I want to do, and I think I'm going to go back for Phoenix, but let's just go ahead. Oh, we got to draw up first to our hand size of 6. We have no cards in hand, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and ready to unexhaust all of our cards. Beginning of the villain first step, acceleration for 1. Yeah, we're going to have to take care of that, so we can start taking care of that. Because now the villain is going to activate. I am in alter ego form. So he's going to scheme for 1. Oh, plus 0. So just adds 1. So they're halfway there. 6 to the 12. And I almost forgot, once again, just like before when I was in alter ego form, this doesn't trigger because he did not attack, but this triggers, which makes Famine now the active villain. And I apologize, for some reason I just forgot to do the encounter step, and I started to bring out stuff on my turn and realized I didn't do the encounter step. So there was a long cut there because I had to figure out, I couldn't remember. I was like, I don't think I did the encounter step. And I had done like 3 cards out here that I brought out. Like I brought out Kid Omega and stuff like that and realized I haven't done the encounter step yet. So it was actually when I was bringing Kid Omega out and I realized I was about to do damage. I was like, wait, I don't think I did it. So let's go back to doing the encounter step. So yep, deal ourselves an encounter card, and oh my goodness. Yeah, we talked about this in the playthrough. He's gonna be rough because, especially right now, I don't think I needed this at the moment. But anyways, we have another minion here. He's got toughness, so he's gonna get a toughness thing on him, is what that means. And he has Villainous, which means he gets a boost card when he does stuff. And as a forced response, after Sebastian Shaw is attacked, give him a face-down boost card. He cannot be attacked again this phase. Well, that's kind of a pain. Well, so we have a minion in play here. Engaged with us. Well, that's going to change how I was bringing things out. I just realized one of the things I was going to do anyway, I wasn't able to do anyways because I was still a mutant. But yeah, here we go. Well, let's go ahead and do our Asteroid M. And do we have anything else we're going to be shuffling? No. So let's go ahead and do our Asteroid M, which I believe, yep, is my shield bubble. And heal for 1. Alright, shuffle this in. Should be more than enough shuffles there. And I was kind of just looking at what I could do. And I guess I can still bring out Kid Omega. I'll get rid of the toughness, and that doesn't, because it's only he can't be attacked again. I think basically make it to where it's multiple turns to take him out, because Kid Omega will get rid of the toughness. And I don't have a way to just do 5 damage, so. Oh, wait. Didn't I have, I think M's in my disc? Yeah. After M enters play, defeat a minion with fewer remaining hit points than M. Yeah, I might do that and go get that, because then I can attack. Oh, less hit points. Oh, I could attack with Magneto, and then she come into play and take him out. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead as an alter ego action, discard this card to return an X-Force or X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. So I'm going to go put M in my hand, because I think that should help me take out Sebastian Shaw. Just not going to be able to do what I wanted to do this turn. Alright, so let's go ahead. Making sure I don't have anything that has to be mutant before I switch. Nope. So we're going to go ahead and switch to my hero form. Debating if I should do my magnetic ability. Yeah, let's do my magnetic pull. Discard cards from the top of my deck until a magnetic card is discarded. I was about to say this. Hold on. Of course. Actually, if I'm reading this right, I think this... Oh, he's elite. Oh, he's not elite. Really? Sebastian Shaw is not an elite? That's weird. Okay. I would have expected him to be elite, but I guess not. Alright, well then, actually... Instead, let's play this wrapped in metal. I have to be in hero form only. Costs 2. There's 2. Attached to a non-elite minion. It doesn't say he's elite, so attached to a non-elite minion. He cannot activate and treat its printed text box as if it were blank. So that kind of just takes care of him. And so I don't forget. But yeah, never mind. I guess I just wasted that to get M. I guess I can still bring her out. She does damage. So it's not a complete waste. Oh, actually, no. It's kind of funny because I do these games just complete random to see if it works out. And I guess something I was talking about the unboxing is about to happen. So I want to bring this out. 1 cost upgrade. There's my 1. I mean, I'm just not going to bring out Kid Omega like I was wanting to, but this is an upgrade. Max 1 per player. As a hero action, I can exhaust Deft Focus, reduce the resource cost of the next superpower card I play this turn by 1. And we're going to go ahead and use Deft Focus to make my next superpower return this turn by 1. So this is a superpower. And it costs 1, so reduce it by 1, so it's 0. As a hero action, discard a minion with wrapped in metal attached and deal 5 damage to an enemy and stun it. I have a minion with wrapped in metal, so it just discards him. I'm not doing damage to him, which means the toughness doesn't stop anything. So, and it's not an attack, right? Yep, it's not an attack. Sorry, I'll just make sure this wasn't an attack, because if this wasn't, oh no, that attack wouldn't matter. It's just the next time he takes damage. So yeah, he's just discarded. Well, that was kind of a waste of getting him back. I guess I could bring her out. But I guess we got to play out the rest of this. It's do 5 damage to an enemy and stun it. So I'll just throw him at one of the 4 horsemen. And since Famine's going to be attacking me this turn, let's go ahead and throw Sebastian Shaw at Famine. Doing 5 damage. And stunning Famine. Alright, well that might give me a little bit of breathing room. Next, I'm going to go ahead and bring out new recruits here. This is a player side scheme. I think it's the first time I've actually done this on camera. But what these are side schemes that go into your player deck, and you could choose to put them out. So like you can see in the case of this one, the dreams of every student at Xavier's school is to join the X-Men. Play only if your identity has the X-Men trait, which I do have the X-Men trait right now. And when defeated, each player chooses 1 set-aside new ally and adds it to their hand. And yeah, I know. I got a cluttered mess over here, and I'm just going to put this right here, because it gets 2 threat on there per player. But I'm about to get rid of it. So while it's a cluttered mess here, it's because it has 2 Threadrunner per player, so it gets 2 on there. And then now I'm going to have White Queen go ahead and thwart for 2 the new recruits, which gets rid of it. And when defeated, each player chooses 1 set-aside new ally and adds it to their hand. But this has got victory 0, so that means it goes to the victory pile, which in campaign mode, that just has a pile where it's gone unless something gets something out of the victory pile. So that's just making sure you can only do it once per game, basically. But you go get these. These are the new allies, and they're linked to that card. So it has to be one of these 4. So I'm going to look at these, and I'll cut me reading through them and see which one is going to be best for me to do right now. Originally, I was going for Indra. When I realized that I didn't do the encounter step, because that's literally what I did. Is I also realized I couldn't have done that because I never even switched to this. But either way, that was all cut out. Yeah, I guess that worked out in my favor because I'm going to change my mind. I originally was, like I said, I was going to go for Indra here because Indra does +2 hit points. It does not count against your ally limit. Well, they all don't count against your ally limit. But +2 hit points is 4. So I was going to be able to do 8 damage. So over turns, Indra was slowly going to take out one of the 4 horsemen. But I think I'm going to go with a Knoll here, just because it's going to help me clean up some of this mess we have, since we have a little bit of a breath here to take. So it cost me 2 to bring out a Knoll. So I guess not a complete waste with M, but does make me discard these. And we get a Knoll out. And a Knoll linked, which is just saying that it's linked to the card, so you can't put this in your deck. It has to be, the only way to get this into your hand and into your deck is with the new recruits side scheme that we played. If you have the mutant or X-Men trait, which I do, then a Knoll gets +1 thwart and does not count against your ally limit. So remember I said you can only have 3 allies. Doesn't count against it. And I'm just going to put this on there to remember that it's +1 thwart. And we're going to go ahead and have a Knoll thwart for 2 +1, 3. And get rid of targeted for extermination. Oh. Not going to be able to do what I thought I was going to do anyways, but that's fine. So this is, when defeated, the player who defeated this scheme confuses their identity. So I know I talked about confuse already. So Magneto becomes confused because it said my identity. My identity is Magneto. So I was going to thwart with them and go and clean up some of this, some of the main scheme, but I didn't notice that. So we'll just have Magneto go ahead and attack one of the 4 horsemen for 2. And also just realized I did not give White Queen her consequence damage for thwarting, and I did not give a Knoll his consequence damage for thwarting. So I'm going to I thought about attacking Famine, taking Famine down to 1, and then White Queen could just finish Famine off. But I think instead I'm going to attack War for 2. With that, I go to the end of my turn. Draw up to my hand size of 5. My deck is getting mighty low here. 2, 3, 4, 5. I got that magic missile again, but I don't have another minion. Actually, wow, these are all, well, I've been shuffling magnetic cards back in, so it should be. And then ready and unexhaust all my cards. Accelerate the scheme for 1. We're at 7 to the 12, so we're going to need a Knoll to start cleaning that up. Oh, probably White Queen, so it's probably a good idea that I did not attack Famine. Anyways, so Famine's going to activate. I am in hero form, So Famine would attack, but Famine is stunned, so Famine does not attack. But it also means neither of these activate because that's after Famine attacks and after Famine, or after the villain activates. They did neither. So, and there's no minions. So we go to the encounter step. We deal ourselves an encounter card. And now, get my obligation. I think it's been a while since I've gotten the obligation for the heroes in these, but here we go. Give to this play to me. It's a forced response that after I use my magnetic pull ability, take 1 damage for each card discarded by it. Well, I only have 1 card left in deck, so I'm probably not going to use that anyways. And then to get rid of this, it's an alter ego action. I have to exhaust Eric to discard old grievances. That's the encounter step. Go back to beginning my turn. I'm debating if I want to do something. What's my top 3 cards? So right now, if I go into hero form, these are shuffling in, so I guarantees I get these next turn. Sorry. Oh, I was overthinking it. I forgot I have depth focus here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring out electromagnetic. Oh, no, we're not. Forgot, I'm confused. No. Wishing I would have put these in different order, but I ain't taking that back. That's fine. All right, let's just do this one. I definitely want to bring out my magnetic bubble. It's a superpower, so actually I'll do this first to make my next superpower 1 cheaper. So now I'll do this, which costs 3 minus 1, so 2. And pay for it using this. That lets me bring out my magnetic bubble upgrade. It gives me retaliate 1, which means anytime I'm attacked, if I survive the attack, whatever attacked me or whoever attacks me takes 1 damage. And then as a forced interrupt, when I would take any amount of damage, place it here. Then if there's at least 6 damage here, discard magnetic bubble. So basically gives me 6 more hit points. Just going to look see my top magnetic. Oh, it's that. If I had a minion out, that'd be great. Because I'm going to go to alter ego form. Just curious if that's worth it. Because I would just thwart. And then that would let me do electromagnetic blast. But I think I need to do this. Yeah, because this has to have me exhaust in alter ego form. Yeah, while I'm thinking about that, let's just do this. I'm going to go ahead and have a null thwart for 3. And let's just do a double. A null thwart for 3 and white queen thwart for 2. So we're going to move 5 altogether from, let's just clean up this main scheme. But they're each going to take 1 damage, which is enough to KO both of them. Oh no. Didn't really think about that too much. Never mind, I was setting up to get some cool stuff in hand. I didn't think about it. This might work out. I don't mind that so much. So actually, let's go ahead and switch to alter ego form, which my response is the top 3 cards of my deck. So the 2 I just knocked out and this shuffle into my deck. And just like we've been doing, let's go ahead and I guess just in case a minion comes out. If not, I can just use it as a resource. Sorry, I should have shown that is my top magnetic. Okay, so we're going to shuffle all these in and gain a hit point. So now I technically have 12 hit points. I can kind of take a hit for a little bit. I guess while I'm shuffling, I could be playing things still. So let's go ahead and do the alter ego action, exhaust Eric here to discard this. And then I think that's the end of my turn. So I have 3 cards in hand. I'm going to keep... Actually, do I care about Electromagnetic Blast? Oh, actually, my deck's getting pretty low. I'm going to have to draw 6. So I don't know if I... Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left in deck. So if your deck ever runs out, you have to deal yourself another encounter card, which I really don't want to do. So I am going to keep these 2 in hand. I will discard. Oh. We did just shove that other thing in and a minion could come down. So actually I'm not going to discard anything. We're going to keep all 3 of these. Alright, that should be more than enough shuffles. Alright. So, like I said, yep, I'm not going to discard. I'm going to keep these because my deck's getting pretty low here. Of course, we did just get that breather. Because we did just get that breather to where I could possibly do 2 back-to-back encounters. Well, I guess until we need to do it, of course, things could get worse, but until we need to do it, nope, let's just go ahead. So, 3 cards in hand, so we draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. So if a minion comes out, he's toast, unless it's elite. And don't really need a null now. He done his job. Guess he can do some damage. Alright. We'll see how that goes. So, ready all my stuff. Accelerate the scheme. I am in alter ego form. So Famine is going to scheme for 2. Oh. Now this is a good one to have for a boost card because this is one of the worst cards in the game. But so scheming for 2 plus 2. So scheming for 4. So never mind. Good thing I drew a null back because it's got some more cleaning up to do here. Is just added 4, 6, 7. Right back to where we were at. 7 to the 12. That was a scheme. It wasn't an attack, but it did activate, so it makes War now the active. And now we go to the encounter step, deal ourselves an encounter card, which is Hunted. Another obligation. We just got rid of an obligation. Yeah, this one's a bad one. We want to get rid of it because it adds an encounter card. Alter ego action, discard a card from your hand to discard this card. Okay, so we got that obligation we got to take care of. We're back to the beginning of my turn. Let's go ahead and do our Asteroid M to get our hit point. And shuffle that because that's the top magnetic. Just looking at my hand here and deciding if I want to discard a card, which we do. Just trying to set up my turn. Alright, let's see what we can do. Okay, we're going to switch back to hero form. Oh, no. No, yeah, before we do that, I mean, we're going to do that. Let's just go ahead. While I was in alter ego form, I just would have went ahead and did this. Discard a card from your hand to discard this card. So we'll just discard a card to get rid of that. Yep. So I think I'm going to have to do this magnetic. So we're going to have to do 2 encounters this turn anyways, because I'm pretty sure our deck's going to run out unless I just don't play any cards, which would be ridiculous. So now we go into hero form. Let's go ahead and do the magnetic ability, and magnetic card right off the top, which is the same card we just discarded. I realized earlier I kind of might have, I don't think I did, and I'll see in the edit. But I'm going to start putting this on there when I use my ability to know that I used my ability. Let's go ahead and bring a null back out. Cost 2. So 2. And yeah, he's got +1 thwart. Because I don't have to do that, because I should remember that, because I have mutant or X-Men on either side, so it don't matter. But either way, just so I can remember, we're going to have a null go ahead and go clean up for 3. And then takes a consequence damage. We're going to go ahead and use Deft Focus. Yep, we're going to use Deft Focus. So our next superpower is 1 cheaper. I just realized what I was doing. Oh well. We're going to go ahead and do it. I'm tired of messing around. This game's been long enough. As a hero, so it costs 3 minus 1, 2. I was going to bring out White Queen and get rid of my confusion, but there's the 2 to do metal shards. Hero action attack, deals 7 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats that enemy, gain a tough status card. It doesn't matter, we already talked about the defeat thing. We're going to do 7 damage, which is enough to take out War. And then we're going to have Magneto go ahead and attack Famine for 2. Taking Famine to 1. So he's got to take out Death here, really. With that, I have no cards in hand, no more actions or anything I want to do. So we're going to drop to our hand size of 5. So 1, 2, our deck runs out. So we have to deal ourselves an encounter card. Now we shuffle up our deck. So we were drawing up to our hand size of 5. We already had these 2 that we drew. And then we draw 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Well, this is a pretty poopy hand. Because this lets me bring allies out, which I don't have any. And then I have all these resources to do nothing with. Lovely. Alright, ready all of our stuff. We accelerate the scheme. I am in hero form. I'm not going to defend because we got all this stuff here. So War is going to attack for 2 plus the boost card, which is an additional 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So it says when I would take any amount of damage, place it here. And then if there's at least 6, this goes away. Which is pretty cool because like there's 4 here, so it's technically 2 more. But say another 4 goes on there, it would take the whole 4 before it did. So that's pretty cool. But it's expensive. With that, this checks. But since War has no does not have 1 or more hit points, or at least 1 hit point, that doesn't trigger. But it did activate, so War, now Pestilence becomes the active villain. And then we have to deal ourselves now the encounter step, another encounter card. So we're going to have to deal with 2 here, which is really cruddy with this hand because, yeah, this is a really cruddy hand. I guess at least if a minion's in this, I could do something about the minion. Well, let's go ahead and see. Oh, of course not. Time of Famine. So it's going to be another side scheme. This is the one with Famine. So it's going to do Famine's thing of gets defeated. Top 10 cards of the deck. But it's got an extra acceleration. So what that means is when this accelerates, it does that plus one more. So might need to take care of that because it's taken me a while and this game is already way long enough. Alright, we have to do this. Advance. When revealed, the villain schemes. So Pestilence is going to scheme for 2 plus 0, so Noel just can't get this taken care of, huh? Activation. This doesn't happen because it wasn't an attack. But it is the villain activating. So makes Death now the active villain. And then we go back to the beginning of my poopy turn. Well, let's see. Let's see what I get. So we'll do my magnetic pull. So we discard cards. Oh, okay. Now I at least have something to spend it on. Alright, alright. Not as bad as I was thinking. Oh, I didn't think about it. Typically, they have an ally that's one of their main 15 cards. There's some that don't, and I just realized Magneto doesn't have one. Man, it should have been Mystique. I can see, oh, as a hero, though, as a hero form, that makes sense. That makes sense, yeah. Alright, well, let's have a Noel do what he's been doing. That's enough to KO a Noel. Let's go ahead and make my next superpower cheaper. And we'll play this for 2. Doing 7 damage to an enemy, but the other part doesn't matter. So we'll do 7 to Death. We'll have Magneto go ahead and attack Death for 2. Which is enough to take Death to 0. Man, I can't do 1 more damage. So we go on to the discard. I'm going to discard these 2 cards. Should I discard more? I'm just keeping this, hoping I draw. I don't know why I'm holding on to them. I'm going to hold on. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to these. And we'll go to draw up to my hand size of 5. I kept 2, so 1, 2, 3. All right, so we should have this. We go to the acceleration of the villain, which accelerates 1 plus the 1. I am in hero form, which means the villain will be attacking me. Since I have my shield, I'm not going to defend. So we go to the attack from Death, which will be discard an ally I control. I don't have an ally. So 2 plus 0, 2, which is just enough. Oh, I didn't even realize. I forgot I had Retaliate on this. Which didn't matter. They didn't have any hit points anyways, but there we go. Pops my magnetic bubble. Because he attacked, doesn't have at least 1 hit point, so that don't trigger, but does make it to where Famine is now the active villain. And now we deal ourselves an encounter card. And gang up. You couldn't have my bubble up still? That would have been cool. Anyways, when revealed, the hero, the villain, and each minion engaged with you attacks you. So, Famine's going to attack me. I don't think I need to. Yeah. I can think of situations where I should, but I'm not going to defend because I have a bunch of hit points. So, Famine's attacking me for 1. Plus 2. So for 3. And does have at least 1 hit point, so I have to discard 10 cards off the top of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then is no longer the active villain. And that's, yep, and that's game. Because I guess I could have defended and just done the metal shards. But yeah, we'll have Magneto attack. And no, I want to do metal shards. So, yeah, I know. 1, 2, make it cheaper. And do metal shards. Which, because that does defeat them, gives me a tough, but it don't matter because the game ends. Alright, so we got them all 4 knocked out. Game ends. Alright, I'll try to make this quick because this video is already long enough. But y'all know, if y'all been watching my videos lately, that I go through the deck now and kind of see how I feel about each card, if anything's changed my mind on them, or if I got a chance to play them and see what's up. Just another look at the deck. So let me zoom in and get that for y'all. Alright, first thing we're going to talk about, I went and dug out the Hellfire card, everything from the deck, right? So we didn't see the Nemesis, so I really can't talk on the Nemesis too much. Because we lucked out and the Shadows of the Past ended up being a boost card, which typically happens in the game. Like, unless I play multiplayer, then it seems like we see it more, but it should be seen more. Alright. So we didn't see the Inner Circle, but when revealed, place 2 additional threat here for each Hellfire card in play. I mean, we had 1. So it could have been kind of a problem because I was having a problem keeping up on the threat. So we didn't see this Treachery. Give the villain a tough status card. Give this card to the villain as a face down boost card. Which means then, after this activation, the activated enemy activates against you again. That could have been really bad if that would have came out before I started doing damage to the Horsemen. Which they were a lot more difficult this time, but I think because I was doing, until I started doing the metallic shards and doing things. But, yep. Hellfire Pawn. We saw it. It was annoying at the time, but, I mean, typical guard. I mean, these are stronger than a typical guard because he's got patrol and then that surge. So, I mean, when he came out, I thought he was going to be kind of a pain in my butt. But we lucked out. I'm surprised he's not elite. And I get it. It's a minion. And I get it that the Nemesis is typically elite. But, I mean, if you know Sebastian Shaw from the comics, I would have guessed Sebastian Shaw was elite, but guess not. So I lucked out because otherwise he would have been kind of a pain to take down while I was trying to take them down because you only get to attack him once. Now granted, that just been 2 more attack, but he would have been attacking my guys or adding 1 more scheme. So I mean, but once I wrapped him in that metal, he wouldn't have been activating no more, so he could have just sat there. But it was cool to throw him at someone. And we saw her with the discard an ally, which really sucks for a leadership deck. And then allies not being able to attack Selene, so I would have had to do it with Magneto, or I would have had to waste one of my 7 damages on her instead of one of the Horsemen. Actually, throw in the 5. Was it only at the villain? To an enemy. So, if I wouldn't have done that against a villain, I guess it would have been cool to make it to where he's wrapped in metal, toss it. But, yeah, kind of annoying. Yeah, I mean, your obligation's always going to be annoying when it comes out. So we saw that come out. It happened. And, of course, most of the time when I was doing magnetic pull, I think the most we saw flip maybe 2 or 3. That's still a lot of damage, so I'm not going to poo-poo it. But yeah, you want to get rid of this immediately, which we did, so cool. All right, Death Focus. I never did look to see if this was, but I think it is. I think it is an oldie that's been reprinted, but making my superpowers cheaper definitely made it to where I could do more on my turn. We didn't get to try You Got This. After you exhaust your hero to make a basic thwarter attack, discard an ally you control, add that ally's matching power to your hero's power for this use. Ready your hero. I still think that's good. I mean, think about it with a null. If I wouldn't have been confused and I would have had this in hand, it just basically lets you use them another turn, plus you get to go again. So, I mean, so like if you think about it, I would have removed 3, thwarted for 5. Yeah, I wouldn't have needed it again after that. But I could have attacked then. So, I mean, yeah, definitely good. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's good. I was trying to think if I would only say I wouldn't put 3. I want to spread out. This is a card that makes me think I'd want it in all my leadership decks. So it's like, do I buy multiple Magneto decks just to have more of them or move them from deck to deck? But I typically don't do that. I don't like moving from deck to deck, so I'd have to buy another deck, unfortunately. Noble Sacrifice. We didn't get to try it. Discard an ally you control. Heal damage from your hero equal to that ally's printed hit points. So, I mean, healing for 2. Probably wouldn't have done it, but for 1 for healing for 2. But it says they're printed hit points, so you can wait till they're about to get knocked out anyways and do it. But like with M, who had 4, that's really good. I'm actually thinking of printed hit points. Maybe trying a Phoenix leadership deck, because then she mind controls like a minion. If you mind control one of these minions, well, usually it's a non-elite. That's the reason I was surprised these weren't elite. But that could be a big heal for her. So that's just one of the thoughts I just had after reading that just now. Had him in hand, didn't get a chance to bring him out. After Cyclops enters play, choose an enemy until the end of the phase. Increase the amount of damage that enemy takes from each attack by 1. So if you have a bunch of allies out, you could do a bunch of damage and just melt something down. So works just like Cyclops' actual ability. Won't stay down. Was good. Ended up not getting used for what I wanted to do it for. But, I mean, like in the case of if I would have had all 4 of the Horsemen up and bring out what was his name? Kid Omega, doing 1 damage to each, attacking for 2. Then on the next turn, attacking for another 2. Then going and bringing him back out again, doing another 1 damage to each of them, and attack for another 2. I can do some silly stuff with that card for sure. We just talked about it. The helmet, I mean, having steady would have helped me in this game. But exhaust Magneto's helmet to generate a wild resource would have helped me also. These are in, I think most decks have some way that someone can exhaust it to get a wild resource for stuff in their deck. And I had it in hand, I needed it for other stuff at the time. Yeah, at first I was saying this was, I mean, I said I liked it just for the flavor, but it came in handy. I mean, I had another way of taking out Sebastian Shaw with M, but it allowed it to where I was able to do that and not have to, I could waste my other attacks and stuff on the Horsemen. So definitely came in handy. It's just, I guess it's still a resource at the end of the day if you don't have minions. And yeah, this is just the other end of that combo. Discard a minion with wrapped in metal attached and deal 5 damage and stun them. And for so cheap, it's just like I said, I don't know. Yeah, I liked it and it helped me out. Just too situational for me to go, I love it. But flavor, I love the flavor. Pick them up, toss them. Electromagnetic Blast, yeah, remove 3 threat. Against the Horsemen wasn't, I mean, no, that's always going to be good. I can think of so many times where they have an attachment out there, and there were Horsemen attachments, right? Do I remember? Did we just not get one? Yeah, like we would have got that attachment on the Horsemen. Normally you gotta let them do their thing to you. Instead, just remove it. I like it. Phoenix, I almost went with her instead of M, which still wouldn't have done anything, but just more of those combos. I mean, it can only do it to an X-Men ally, but ready that ally and heal 1 damage from it. So, like when a Null was cleaning stuff up there, I thought about going to get Phoenix or hoping to draw a Phoenix because they could have healed a Null to where a Null could have gone again, or just being able to do another hit point, so another thwart or another attack from the X-Men seems really good. Squared Off, I mean, I like it a lot. There was a point where I was going to use it when I had it in hand to bring out Kid Omega, and it would have just made it to where it costs 2 just like normal, but because of using this to bring out Kid Omega and also to pay the energy to do 1 damage to everything. But either way, I like it. It's good, especially since you can just take out the minion immediately if you need to with that person. But then again, that could have hit something like that, or Sebastian Shaw in here. I think that's the only minions I could have hit, right? Yeah, unless my other ones came out, because I don't know any other minions since we don't have the hounds in here. Yeah, so that could have been bad because I could have milled through and gotten Sebastian, or, yep. Magneto's armor, I want to try with the magnetic pool. We saw about 2 or 3 cards, so it's going to give you some extra thwart or extra attack. But it's until the end of round, so that means if it's the defense, you're going to get the extra defense to defend with. Although it sucks, like in the case where I was confused. So I have extra thwart, but I can't do anything with it this round. But I'm not going to say it's bad. It's good because it's making a positive out of the extra mill cards that you milled. Electromagnetic Blast we talked about. Magnetic Missile we talked about. Depth Focus. Master Magnetism, I mean, 2 resources is always good. That's the only reason with that being in here, I don't know if I would play with, well, with these, just because, but I guess at least 1 or 2, maybe if I'm putting other things in the deck. Metal Shards, deal 7 damage, get a tough status card if it knocks them out or defeats them. So, I mean, I guess taking out elites, if those would have been elites, are a big minion, or just a big hit to the villain. And if you hit them to the next stage, that's considered defeating them. So you get a tough status card going into the next stage. So, really good. Kid Omega, I do like him. Just, I get why they don't give him very much, because you're getting so much bang out of him. But in the case where there's only 1 villain and there's no other minions out, you wouldn't do that. You would just maybe discard that for schemes if there's a lot out. Then if there's not, then you don't have to discard any extra, and he's 2 for 2, so you get 4. Yeah, he's good. I like him. Yep, talked about that. You got this. That might be it. M. I mean, I had a way it would have been very effective, but really most minions are 3 or less for the most part. So, I mean, M being able to do that, and it doesn't say elite, so let's say my minion would have came out, or my nemesis would have came out, just do some damage to it, get it down to 3, and boom. Now, I don't like, but I get why, because 2, you at least get 2 attacks with her. Really what I would do is attack, taking her to 2, thwart once, and then attack again, because then you at least get 8 from her for her cost. But I get why she costs so much. The cape, we didn't get to see it. We got to use it once, I mean, but we didn't get to see it do effectively a lot of stuff. But man, Like, I used the magnetic pool ability quite a bit, so ready, so attack, ready, attack again, or thwart, ready, yeah, good. White Queen, she came up. I was going to use her again. I mean, you get to clear a status off someone, so a good or bad. Yeah, I like her a lot. You just got to time when she comes out, maybe hold on to her, because I feel like if you bring her out without that, kind of a waste. Didn't get a chance to try it. Search the encounter deck, discard pile and set aside area for your nemesis and reveal it. Ready your hero and draw 3 cards. You cannot attack the villain this phase. I mean, I still feel like I don't really enjoy it as much. That's taste. Yeah, retaliate 1. And gives you a shield. 6 extra hit points. Expensive, so unless you can make it cheaper. But I like it. That might be it, because I can't think of anything else. Well, Noel shouldn't have been in here, but I'll go through the other. Or I should have been in there, but Asteroid M, yeah. I mean, the Alter Ego cards are usually always good. They're not amazing, but like, I've done a lot of healing from that, because I never had to recover once because of it. And then shuffling that magnetic cards in, of course, that led to that poo-poo turn later, but let's talk about the 4 since they came up, because, yep, I almost forgot about the thing I removed. Yeah, I love this. This is good. The other one I remember just lets you just put an ally into play, but this lets you go get a cheap ally, and we saw it done bang for its buck, because I was able to use it and then bring out a null, clean up stuff, bring out a null, clean up stuff. I mean, and then I could have chose Surge, which does the same thing as a null but would have done damage, so I thought about that. But I was going to bring out Indra, and I mean, 8 damage over time. That's almost one whole 4 Horsemen by himself. Of course, it would take him more time. And then Bling gets toughness, so it can defend for me. So if I was still in that, if I would have done that when I was way low on hit points, I might have chose Bling just to take a hit for me. But yeah. This is already long enough, so I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I did enjoy it. I do not think I'm going to keep this deck together enough to do that. I mean, I see what the leadership cards they put in here were meant to do together. I don't think I really used them more. I think I used more of just Magneto, which is kind of what I was saying. I feel like I always call it the War Machine effect, because I feel like War Machine was just good, and just build whatever deck you want with him and it's gonna do stuff. So maybe, yeah, the X-Men leadership I'm thinking of, just go ahead and keep it with Magneto, because it can just do anything. So maybe, yeah. That's what's good about it, is because you can just build whatever deck you feel like playing. I want to play a shield deck. Cool. Throw shield in there. And it could be Magneto with shield, I guess. But I mean, I'd want to take advantage of his X-Men keywords. So probably the things that say you got to have an X-Men. And then you could play with Children of the Atom. And that makes it where you could throw X-Force and X-Factors into your deck. And if they say you have to be X-Factor or X-Force, well, now he is X-Factor or X-Force. So he could bring them out. Definitely some things. I didn't talk about the magnetic pool, but we saw it was very effective. I mean, I like this because it kept shuffling 3 in, and it actually saved me one time but it's timing to make sure you're shuffling in 3 that are going to make it worth shuffling in. Otherwise, you're just shuffling in stuff you probably discarded for to pay for stuff. Is the only problem I found with it. But I mean, I ain't gonna say it's bad. I mean, you're getting to shuffle in 3 cards. So like, if you had a bad magnetic pool thing happen and shuffle and discard some things you needed, you can get them shuffled back in. or after you play some of your best cards, flip it and shuffle them back in, especially if you have your Asteroid M out. But yeah, I liked it. It was fun. I enjoyed playing it. Long. Sorry it's so long. I'll try to cut out anytime. I know there was a lot of times I was just really thinking and really trying to figure out the most min-max, the best way to do stuff. So I'll try to cut all that out. Anyways, I'm not going to hold you up with any longer jibber jabber. I think the next thing we're going to see is going to be the Shield campaign. So we won't see the 4 Horsemen anymore unless I start doing some more videos. I am just now closing on a house where I'll be able to set up a better, more comfortable area to film with. And if I have a more comfortable area to film with, then I'll probably play more. I have not been playing this as much solo because I've been enjoying playing it with people in the shop. I've also thought about just setting up a camera in the shop to where it'll be noisy, and I'll see how much I can cut out from background noise, but maybe film some stuff from the shop when we're playing multiplayer and stuff. But that's something I'm looking to in the future. But anyways, hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all saw me do anything, I'll see if I made any mistakes in the edit. If y'all saw me do anything, or I'm open to, I know I make mistakes. I ain't gonna feel bad if you tell me I did something wrong. Cool. Usually I'm focusing too much on making sure everything's in camera and everything is not fuzzy and glare and stuff, and not paying attention. Sometimes I overlook rules, or sometimes I get carried away with doing things like I did where I forgot to do the encounter step that one time. Like, that happens. I've actually had edits where I've noticed I just skipped the encounter step for some reason. Why'd I do that? I don't know. And this was one where I just did it. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was so ramped up to get on my turn because I saw an exciting turn where I was going to do some stuff, and I ended up not doing everything. I mean, I did the same thing as the new recruit, but I didn't do the other things I was going to do. Anyways, thank you for watching, and have a great day.